Welcome. Good evening. Thank you for coming. You're going to have a good evening tonight. We have some great information for you, and I know that's what you're interested in. And Super Citizen, remember what our slogan is: educate, motivate, litigate. All right, let's do it together. Educate, motivate, litigate. That's it. So we had a great year. This was our greatest year. We've been in operation for 2.5 years. Next year is going to be the greatest year ever for Super Citizen. We have a spectacular secret project underway that you're going to love to promote freedom in Maryland and in America. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. But Valerie and I visited, and I mentioned this to you because you might enjoy it, up there in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The American Music Theater holds 3,000 people. They have their annual Christmas show. Take your children or just go. It's a beautiful show, better than New York. It's only $46. We went up there, visited last week in the middle of a rainstorm, 60 miles away, on a Thursday night. Valerie was driving. It was horrendous. But coming back at about 11 o'clock at night, it was something strange. The Amish with their little buggies were all over the roads. 11 o'clock at night, I have never seen so many of these folks going in. And Valerie said, well, they're probably having services. But they were going in different directions. So I don't know what that's all about. We have to send the Department of Justice up there to investigate what this is all about. I want to introduce some of our guests that are here this evening and also tell you what the agenda is. First of all, we have Senator Johnny Ray Sailing. We have Delegate Rick Metzger. And of course, you met Delegate Joe Bodler. We have Delegate Rick Impalaria, and from Harford County, our good friend, Delegate Susan McCombs. Also joining us tonight is our good friend running for Baltimore County Executive, Darren Badillo. And I see Glenn has arrived. We have running for State Delegate Glenn Gearhart. Now, is there anybody that I missed? I miss anybody? Who? Oh! The woman I love, Jordana Schifanelli. But we'll give you a better introduction for Jordana when she's about to speak. So to give you the agenda, what we're doing here is Jordana, of course, is running for Lieutenant Governor with Dan Cox. Trump endorsed. And Jordana will tell us a little bit about what her and Dan would like to do to change the state of Maryland, our policies. We are the belly of the beast, you know that. And also, we have Dee Hodges with us, and Dee is going to tell us about some laws and ideas, maybe 3 or 4 that are being passed in other states. Never be passed here. But in the red states, there are 35 red states in America. And the red states in America are in total rebellion. The governors and legislators of those Republican states are changing laws all across the country. They're changing the voting laws, Mississippi, the abortion law. They're changing laws all across the country. And the 15 blue states are changing laws the wrong way. And that's why people are leaving those states. So we have in our 35 great red states in America, wonderful things are happening. And Dee will tell us about some of that. And then we're going to talk with our legislators, because coming up December the 6th, they're going into special session about the redistricting. And also this next session that's coming up in January is going to be some amazing stuff. Recreational marijuana, mail-in voting, harvesting voting. We are the belly of the beast, and the worst of the worst will be passed in Maryland. Our guys and gals will fight. They will fight, but we are outnumbered. So I want to mention two things that are very important. There are two books, the two most important books in America today. One is by Jim Simpson called Who Was, oh, this is going to be great. Who was Karl Marx? This book, we had Jim on our radio show last week. This book is about what is happening to America, how the Marxists and the communists and the socialists are controlling our country and our institutions. It tells you everything. It's called Who Was Karl Marx, and you can get that book on Amazon. The other one just came out, which is even more important. It's called Rigged, R-I-G-G-E-D, Rigged, How They Stole the Election. It's by Molly Hemingway, and this book talks about a multi-billion-dollar illegal super PAC that brought together all of the media, the voting organizations, the big tech tyrants, all together for 2 years prior to the election on how to bring down Donald Trump. It wasn't done on that election day. It was done for 2 years. It's an amazing book by Molly Hemingway. These are two books every American has to read. So one of the things I wanted to do is, since we're going to be talking about the legislature, I have to give you some good news. I got to prepare you with a vaccine so that you will be able to take what we're going to talk about with the legislature. So this is the good news report, and here's the number one good news. Our prayers are answered. Abortion is going to be defeated. Yes. Here's one you don't know about, but the Baltimore Sun has gone from 250,000 readers to 50,000 readers. And this week they fired 100 of their plus workers in their printing plant down in Port Covington, and they took the main building, that big building down there for Sun Media, and they canceled their lease, and they are now doing their printing out of town with a subcontractor to save millions of dollars because they are in financial trouble. I give them another year. More good news. The 2022 election. The Gallup poll said that if the election were held today, the Democrats would lose 50 seats. 20 Democrats in the House are already retiring. In 2010, 24 Democrats retired, and we won 56 seats. Now, this is what's interesting. I'm talking about the red states earlier. The red state Republicans control redistricting in 175 districts. The Democrats control 75 districts. I think we're going to win 60 or 70 seats. And think about this. Once we win those seats, a couple of good things happen. The squirrel will be done. It'll be the last year for the squirrel, Pelosi. And a lot of these people don't like to serve when they're not in the leadership position, and the Republicans will be in the leadership position. Two more predictions. Dutch Ruppersberger and Ben Cardin will retire in 24. Now the Democratic Party is way down. We're going to win 22. We're going to take the House. And in the House, what great power do we have? The power of impeachment. Over there, impeachment. And Because of his lawlessness and his open borders, the House can impeach Joe Biden. Now you say, well, then we get stuck with Kamala. Kamala's at 28%. That's the same level of support that Al Capone had back in the 30s. So I don't think we have to worry about running against Kamala, do you? Finally, Virginia and New Jersey told us about the future. So there's a lot of good things to think about, a lot of good things to be happy about, and then there's the legislature. But here's the agenda. First, our keynote speaker is going to be Jordana Schifanelli. Then Dee's going to talk for a very few minutes about what's happening in the red states. And then we're going to have our legislators speak and explain to us what's coming up, what they think is coming up, and what they're trying to do. But this next lady, I remember when I first read about her, I said, I got to go see her. I got to bring her to the public. I've got to get her and the public to know about her. So I invited Jordana. I spoke to Jordana on the phone. I invited her up to our radio show so thousands of people could hear her. She just absolutely knocked me out with her energy and her sincerity. And then I was working with Dan Cox, discussing the idea of whether or not he was going to run for governor. And at that time, I told Dan, I said, you have got to put Jordana on that ticket for lieutenant governor. And I said, this is the year of the woman, and this is the year of education, and she is the perfect running mate for you. So finally he did say he was going to pick her. He called me and said, I'm going to pick Jordana. I said, that is fantastic news. This is a woman that came to this country as a legal immigrant from a communist country. She knows what it is not to have freedom. She's an attorney, she's an economist, she was an instructor, and she may still be at the Naval Academy. And when her sons were put under the ugly hand of Black Lives Matter down in Queen Anne's County, she stood up and fought back and got rid of the superintendent and elected a new school board. So she's not only a woman, she's a winner, and she's a patriot, and she's a conservative, and I love her very much, and Valerie loves her very much, just to legitimize things. But I would like to have her come up and talk to us about what she would like to do along with Governor Dan Cox, the Trump-endorsed ticket in Maryland.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, sweetheart. Go ahead. Don't trip on the wire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we started with the odds. Speaking about the odds, first of all, imagine the odds of being born in a communist country and after 28 years you see what liberty looks like, only to be awoken one day and think of, God, is it possible that this communist ideology is coming to America? And what Pat said is really true. I did, voice my opinion against CRT, and then the rest is history. My community in Queen Anne's County stood together against toxic superintendent. We won on a write-in ballot against all odds. Within 3 months, we were able to introduce our candidates to our community, and within 3 months, we were able to achieve 12,000 write-in votes during November election of 2020. So, by profession, I'm an economist, and then I'm a lawyer. So when Dan asked me to run with him, and I said, well, what are the odds? What are the odds that someone can come, enjoy this liberty, and truly embrace the ideas that our founding fathers have given us in 1776? To me, that was the truly day when I became a United States citizen at the age of about 33, when I had to stand and pledge allegiance to this flag consciously, voluntarily, and so proudly. And that is the day when I realized how lucky I am when there is so many billion people in the world. But look where I am then and look where I am now, just with you today. We are so blessed to be here, aren't we? So you know, I thought, okay, well, where is Maryland? Where is Maryland today? What is what are the numbers that I need to be aware of? What I need to really focus on? Well, when Pat said what Jordana wants to do, the first thing Jordana wants to do, day one in office, is to take down mandates that have been imposed on our children and on our people. I don't want to see any more mask mandates, and I do not want to hear anyone talking, encouraging, discussing vaccination of anybody. As Dan tends to say, we would like to impose the DeSantis rule. Let's get freedom back to Maryland. So the first thing we want to do is to ensure that there is no mask mandates and no vaccine mandates. These are the topics that belong to each person individually and their primary care provider. That is between you and your doctor. It's nobody's business. I don't want to see employers asking you about your religion. I don't want to talk about your religion and your employers mandating the vaccines or masks. You have to wear them here, there, or everywhere. We do not live in Dr. Seuss world. We live in America, and where weird things should not happen. Furthermore, Dan and I have talked about creating, restoring, if you will, or maybe itemizing what are the parental rights. Government does not own your children. You are the one who should be in charge of your child's morals. You're the person who should be deciding the faith and the moral values that you and your family hold. It's not the business of the school. So if you hear that the experts are supposed to decide what your child learns, how your child needs to think, and what your child needs to think, it's the time for us to take our schools back. It's the time to put the stop of the government controlling our children from kindergarten until they're 18. It's enough. Then that will bring us to the next question. Well, what do we want to see our schools look like? How should our schools look like? Well, you know, our public schools have been going down for a very long time as it comes to education of our children. And they were going up as it comes to indoctrination of our children. Indoctrination and politics does not belong in schools. You cannot be an educator and promote personal partisanship politics. Those two things are completely at odds with each other. Educators are the people who rely on facts. They do not impose their opinions on people. They teach students how to dissect facts, but the ultimate conclusion belongs to a child. And the teachers are not to be promoting Black Lives Matter organization, protests against the police, or disparaging America because, number one, it's not true what they're saying, and number two, it harms child's development. We need to be able to protect our children, and we have failed to do so. I tend to tell people when I talk and when I go throughout the state that my oldest, who is now 19, serving in the military, in the Army, he was a collateral damage of No Child Left Behind idea. By the time my middle boy, Philip, came around to go to school, he was a collateral damage of Common Core. And by the time Stefan is in school, which I have a 13-year-old, he just turned 13 yesterday, Here's a collateral damage of CRT education. It's 20 years time span, 3 children going through 3 different toxic experiments, one after another. I didn't come to America to raise children in this way. You were not born in the freest country on earth to have your children and grandchildren being educated in this manner. And it's time for us to wake up, stand up, and take charge of our own immediate family members. So what did our framers intended to see as our education when they formed our Constitution and looking back now almost 200 some years? I think they never envisioned a government teaching, controlling, God forbid, indoctrinating our children. That's not what they thought. I am sure John Adams never thought this would have happened. But here we are. Here we are. So Dan and I have talked about extensively how do we want to address this issue. And it's very simple. Money follows the child. I want to see all of your tax dollars, blood, sweat, and tear, to be given to you. Then you decide which school your child needs to go to. We want to see charter schools. You know, Hillsdale College and Liberty University has K-12 program that promotes American patriotism and values. The music you hear is part of that tradition. And we embrace all those values, absolutely. And so when it comes to what do we want to see charter schools. We want to see promoting patriotism in public schools. When my school board was elected, and the first opportunity they had, for the first time in a very long time in Queen Anne's County's history, we actually had every single school in our county celebrate Constitution Day. The children, teachers, and everyone prepared programs, and they thought and gave remnants of what our country was, what our country should be, and how do we make America great again. That was what our students need to focus on. So we want to see patriotism. We want to talk about our children loving their country and not hating their country. When what prompted me to run the campaign for the candidates to win in our school board, one of the very serious issues that I had was our secondary novels. The secondary novels, every single one that was posted and promoted to school children, spoke about America as a racist and hateful country. That was not going to fly with our new school board because it's simply not true. You know, I can never forget the kindness you welcomed me. You didn't know me, but yet, you know, I always say that and I will never stop saying it. You have never judged me based on my accent. You've never denied business to me based on my accent. So if anybody calls you racist, they're gonna have to talk to me first. Dan and I further discussed about critical race theory that is part of the curriculum. And if you hear candidates going forward, you know, we're going to have a very busy 2022, saying that there is no CRT in schools, it's a pure lie. There is a CRT in schools, and the way they promote CRT is through buzzwords such as social emotional learning, cultural awareness. More importantly, I have slides that the teachers were taught, and the slides discussed collectivism as opposed to individual values and individualism. So to be clear, collectivism, if you look at any dictionary or any kind of definition, it's a Marxist socialist construct. It's not natural. We live as individuals, we die as individuals, we thrive as individuals. Our capitalist system started in a regular individual trade. I'll give you an apple, you give me a wool or a clothing. That was how we started. It's a natural progression, and the way we live and the way the framers formed our country was based on a natural law. So therefore, we want to get back to the roots of common sense. We do not want to promote collectivism. You know, I can tell you a personal story. 22 years ago, my husband came across a book that's called a rainbow fish. And he's a big, avid reader. He took the book and ripped it and shredded it in pieces very angrily. And 20 years ago, I said, Mark, what are you doing? Why are you angry over a children's book? He said, look at this book. This was over 20 years ago. He said, it's a rainbow fish. And the story goes that this rainbow fish was so special, and everyone was envy about her. And no one wanted to hang out with this rainbow fish. So she was lonely, and she was abandoned from the school of fish. And so one day, she decided that if she gives her shiny scales to every single fish in the sea, maybe that would be the way that they would like the fish, her, and embrace her into their group. So she gave every scale that she had to every other fish, and then they embraced her. And my husband said, look what they're teaching. So now they're all ugly. Embracing individual skills, beauties, and controlling jealousy, anger, is something that we have to focus on. We cannot say, look, if we're all ugly together, if we are all miserably poor together, we will be all okay, and the elitists will run the country. That is not how America should look like in the future, and that is not why I'm running for lieutenant governor. It's actually the opposite. I want every one of us to be unique, special, creative, and everyone who is unique, special, and creative can be embraced the way they are. They don't need to change to fit into someone else's story or someone else's narrative. We want to continue to be the beacon of freedom, a country where each individual skill moves us forward. We started as people that came with nothing. And in less than 200 years, we created everything and became the strongest power on earth. And we want to continue being the strongest power on earth. And that's why I'm running. The next item that I would like to focus on, and Dan and my administration, is to fund and help and protect the police officers. They've been beaten down. They've been bullied and beaten down to no end. Governor Hogan's mandates that were imposed to healthcare workers, police officers, teachers, have done nothing to support them. To the contrary, a lot of them had to leave, retire early, or simply being in fear that if they don't get a jab, they will lose their job. That is not America, it's not freedom, and Dan and I are going to ensure that our police officers are funded fully and that no mandates are imposed on them. To the contrary, we need to support them. We need to enforce the education of police officers to make them the best and best equipped to do their jobs and control the skyrocketing crime in Baltimore City and surrounding neighborhoods. So defend and fund the police is our agenda. Stopping sanctuary cities and coordination between the police officers and USCIS immigration control and enforcement is essential. Those two branches of law enforcement need to work together hand in hand, not against each other. These people need to work together, coordinate their actions together, and stop the crime. MS-13 is flourishing through the state of Maryland. We cannot continue to allow our children to be raped and murdered across our state. And last but not the least, our country is, according to U.S. News and World Report, number 38 out of 50 in its infrastructure. This is the U.S. News and World Report State of Maryland 2021 report card. Infrastructure is 38 out of 50 states. Our economy is number 35 out of 50 states. Our education is number 14 out of 50. Our fiscal stability is 29 out of 50. We're nowhere in the middle. We're not even top 5. But wait a minute, we are top 5 in one category. Now taxes, not just taxes. Exit. People leaving our state. Top 5, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Connecticut. They're all moving to Tennessee and Florida. Out of 50 states, we are the top to leave our state. So who leaves the state where it's good? And we are the top to exit our state. Our retirees are suffering. They can't support inflation, gas prices, and their limited income is not sufficient to make them enjoy their retirement. So we have to really, really work hard to reverse the trend that's taking us down. There's no reason to leave Maryland. There's no reason to separate yourself from your family. But yet we have an exodus from the state of Maryland like never before. That is not a good statistics. That is something we have to work together to stop, and Dan and I are pledging our loyalty to get this reversed immediately. Our infrastructure needs to be better. Our roads and tolls need to be lower, and roads need to be better, but at the same time, we cannot allow exodus of our people. Median income in the state of Maryland is $40,000, exactly $41,360. Who can survive on $41,360 today? That's a median income. So these are the things that I am going to be facing when we take the office next November. But I'm going to be very honest with you. This is a hard road to walk. It is extremely hard. I'm on the road every single day, and I'm doing 2-3 engagements per day. And I can tell you a couple of things what I see from the street. People are fed up. That's the first thing I see. My meetings and my rallies are becoming as famous as President Trump's. So, no, I mean, people are coming to hear the story, but more importantly, people are coming to hear that there is hope. That there is hope, that there is future, and if you really think about this, the misery can end in 11 and a half months. We'll be done. I am not standing here to lie and tell you it's going to be easy, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to lower taxes tomorrow. It's not going to happen. But I do know what's going to happen day one. There will be no masks, and there will be no vaccine mandates, and that's going to stop exodus of healthcare workers, teachers, and police officers straight day one. And then we're going to start tackling one item at a time. You know, when I look at these things and I see where the issues are here in executive branch. If you stop to think and ask yourself, and there are some seniors here, has it ever been this bad? Has it ever been this bad for you? And mind you, you had Democratic governors too. Has it ever been this bad? No. And 8 years of Governor Hogan got us to put the damn get the damn vaccine and put the damn mask on. No more. It's going to be ending day one when Dan and I get into the office. And there is no way I will allow a child to be masked, gagged, bullied, or attacked by teachers and teachers activists. We got to work hard. So with your support, we're going to do it. We can do anything. If I could win the election school board in 3 months on a write-in, we can do this together. I left something for you for sure. Guys, it's the little card on the table. If you take a picture, if you take your phone and you shine your picture, your camera over this card, it'll take you to Dan Cox's website to make a donation. We can't survive without it. We don't have big businesses like Governor Hogan does, giving Kelly Schultz maximum amount of donation one can give. Our people are giving us $25, $35, and so forth. People are doing everything they can to support us. We're gonna make signs. We're gonna have to make cards. We're gonna knock on doors. We're gonna pay the gas to travel crisscross the state of Maryland. But at the end of the day, with your help and your fight for freedom, we're gonna win. I'm positive we're gonna win. President Trump depends on you. I depend on you. Children depend on you. And we're gonna do everything we can to secure liberty for our generations to come. Thank you so much for having me. Bless you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.